Hi and welcome to RCKicks. On today's show, well, after a manic week with all the announcements from Tamiya, there's going to be loads of new kits coming out and turning up on the show. And that means I need to crack on and get a lot of the builds that I've got sitting in my build pile done by then. Now, I took the weekend off as it was Rebecca's birthday and we had a whole family came round, had a big meal, but I'm back in the studio today. So in this episode, we're going to be kicking off a new build. It's one that's been sitting in the pile for a while, but one I'm looking forward to. And that's this, the XV-02 from Tamiya. Now, this came out last year. It's been sitting in my build pile, but I thought, hey, now's the time to do it. And we've got a few body options as well, which we'll come to later on. Now, this is kit 58707. Prices are £319 in the UK, so it's not a cheap kit, but it does come with some quite trick parts. You get two 39 tooth diffs. You also get a 40 teeth diff, so you can have front wheel overdrive or underdrive, so you can do some trick things to get the back to slide out or understeer into the corners. So we'll play around with that as well. Now, it comes with aluminium long shocks, front and rear. Obviously, the prop shaft, being that the motor is in the middle, is aluminium as well. So there is a few little bits you get, as well as a polycarbonate body protection to keep the dirt out of the actual electronics. So the first thing we've got to do is lay it all out, and then we can crack on and get the chassis built. So we're all laid out, ready to go. Now, I did splash out a bit of money and picked up a hex titanium set from Yi Racing. So we're not going to use the kit screws. Now, we kick off on page 4, number 2, and straight away we're working with the chassis. Here's a little tip for you on step 2. You've got to fit the uprights, but it's a very strange way of doing it. You actually don't screw it into the plastic. There's actually bolts on the inside. So you've got to get a bolt really far into there, and then you've got to mount it from here. So the best way I found is a little trick. Get your locking nut, get an Allen key that's small enough to actually hold it on here, turn it upside down, move it up, and then slowly wiggle it, and it's actually in place. Then take a larger one that's not going to go in, push it, hold it, turn it over, and now you're holding the nut in the right place. Then what you can do is you can take your screwdriver, place it into the hole. If I can show you that. There we go. And then
stand clear.
So I just wanted to take some time to go over the options that you have available on the XV-02 when it comes to the driveline, especially the centre. Now it comes with a spur, 70 tooth. Now there is a hop up you can go and just stay with that, and that's the aluminium spur gear holder. That's 22053 and that's £9.84. Now you do have some other options. You can have a slipper clutch, which is 22048, so you could upgrade to the slipper clutch. Alternatively, what you can do, you can put a center diff. Now there's two parts to this that you're going to need. The gear diff 06 spur, which is 22050. That's only £5.82. But you also need the oil gear diff unit, which is £31.32. You can also swap these diffs out to be ball diffs if you like, which is 22046. You can put it in the front or the rear. They're quite expensive at £59.52. So you have quite a few options, and I think that's really cool. If I could just ask you to take 2 seconds, if you've watched the videos and you've watched a few and you enjoy it, to hit that subscribe button. 58.6% of you that watch the channel aren't even subscribed. It costs you absolutely nothing, and being that we're such a small RC channel, every new subscriber really helps the algorithm find our content and push it out to more RC fans like you. So there you go, that didn't take very long at all, really, and actually went together pretty much exactly as you'd expect from Tamiya. A little bit different, seems a very narrow chassis. The battery actually sits upright, which is kind of strange, and then fits on one side. You can actually remove two screws and open these flaps to get access. That I'm not overly sold on, as there's two screws you have to keep putting in and taking out. I'm going to try and put the battery in with these sort of uprights still in place to see whether it's possible to do it or not. As I could see, if you were driving this a lot, that would eventually end up failing at those points because you're screwing straight into the chassis. Fixing that would be quite difficult. So I am missing a few bits of electronics. I did find in my part bin a brushless, sensorless motor, but I'm going to change it. I also need an ESC to run it anyway. So one of my favorite go-tos is a Hobby Wing 3652 SL. That's the Max 10 ESC and a 5400 kV censored motor. Personally, I do like running censored brushless motors. They're just smoother on pickup, especially in 1/10. Once you get into the big stuff, you know, your X-Max and stuff doesn't really matter. But when you're running 1/10, having that kind of jittering sometimes is a little bit of a pain. So I'm just going to pick up one of those. They're around £100, so it is a bit expensive, but I actually have one in my TC-01 and I love the power. It's enough, but not crazy insane. Quality, waterproof, all that kind of stuff, which is perfect for this. Then I need a servo. So the servo I'm going to go for is got to be a low profile. So I'm probably going to go Savox, because I want this to have a really fast. If I'm going to spend that kind of money on electronics, I might as well go the whole hog and get a servo that's going to be fast enough. So I'm going to pick up, I'm not sure which one, there's quite a few Savox ones, so I'll pick up one of those when they're in stock, and hopefully that will come for the next episode of this so I can get it fully up and running. Now I have treated myself to the Radiolink RC8X, so that's going to come with a transmitter and receiver, so I'm probably going to test run it in something like this, because having all that nice electronics in it, it'd be nice to see how well that transmitter performs, as it's an all singing all dancing one. Now I have been using my Radiolink RC6GS's. I've got two of them and I love them, and this is a whole nother level, so I'll get to play around with that before I do a review on the show. As for bodies, well, being that the actual mounting points are well at the front on this, it does limit some of the bodies that are available. The first one is killer bodies. The actual killer body I have here. Now this is my TC-01. TC-01 has the same body mount positions as the XV-01. So this was my conversion from a Formula E car into a rally car. Actually better than you think. Now the body is from Killer Bodies. This is £45.59. This will fit perfectly on that as well. So I did think about getting another one, and I do run this. My justifications are I'm going to turn this more into a tarmac rally car, and then I'm going to use this one for the actual dirt, grit, gravel and that kind of stuff. So I did think about going the same way again, but hey, I thought, well, let's do something a bit different. Plus painting up a body on the show makes better content than just plonking a ready done body. But I could highly recommend Killer Bodies. Definitely worth looking into if you're going to be driving and you don't want to spend hours and hours doing up a body yourself. So the body that I'm going for, and I've placed an order for already, is the Toyota Racing WRT Yaris WRC. That's 51608. Now that's a little bit different, but it will fit on this chassis. So I'm going to paint up that in the next episode of this, as well as we'll take it for a run. So that's got to turn up. Now that's a bit of a big job, lots of decals, but it does look pretty cool. So I don't know, maybe I'll paint that up and then that will be the shelf body, and then maybe I'll go this route and just get one of those as well to run it, so that I've literally got a full dirt rally version and a tarmac rally version. We'll see. But before I spend too much money on this, we need to cut out the body protection, the inside chassis protector. So let's go cut that out, and then I'm going to paint it up. Maybe I'll do it black. I don't know. I'll have a think about it while we cut it out.